Hello and welcome to our 14 FC podcast. I'm Alex, Crystal Palace fan.
And I'm Tom, a West Ham fan.
This is your podcast for everything not top six, tired of your team being last on match of the day, not getting the flowers they deserve. Well, we're about to give those other teams the coverage they deserve. Tom, what do we have this week?
With just days to go before the Premier League ball gets booted to kick off the 25-26 season, we're staking our claims and calling our shots. It's time to make some predictions that are sure to look truly terrible come May. We've each predicted the final Premier League table, our other 14 MVP, and made one or two bold predictions that will leave us with proverbial egg on our faces. Alex, how you been, mate?
Yeah, well, good. I actually went camping this weekend, and I did lose another kg.
The time's caught up.
Yeah, time's actually caught up with me, in all honesty. But yeah, apart from that, all good. I mean, today Palace's gold kit was announced, which I feel like might go down in the club's history as a momentous moment.
I was going to say, how do you like having a Wolves kit as your away kit?
I fucking hate it. I get it, but I hate it. I mean, I'm still going to buy it because I'm a mug, but yeah, just as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's. We all knew it was coming, but it was just a bit meh. The other big thing that's happened this week, got my FA Cup tattoo, so I'm well.
Yeah, how's your arse?
Yeah, on my arse. So unfortunately, viewers won't be able to see it, but yeah, I'm well happy with how it all turned out.
Unfortunately, viewers, I have seen it on the Close Friends Instagram.
Oh, we maybe put up on socials. No, we'll lose a lot of followers if we end up doing that.
Yeah, we'll get shadow banned by every social media outlet.
Mate, that's it. We've got to do something controversial to get more followers. That's how you do this podcast game, right? But yeah, apart from that, yeah, not too busy. Going to America on Sunday, so just getting ready with that. So busy all round. How about yourself? What have you been up to?
Well, I've been a little bit under the weather, so hopefully it doesn't come across too bad, this recording.
I was going to say, you look like shit, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's always the case, but I feel I've got a little bit of the Sean Dyche in my voice at the moment. But yeah, no, I've just been playing The Last of Us Part 2, finished it last night. Enjoyed it as a sort of like gameplay of it was really good. I thought the gameplay was better than the first one, but I don't think the story was as good. But now I've played it, which my partner Lena's been banging on at me to play it for ages. Now she'll let me watch the second season of the series.
I was about to say, you watched it before I'm playing it.
No, she was dragging her heels. She wouldn't let me watch it until I'd played it.
Oh, mate. What about West Ham? Anything popping off that? I saw you got Carl Walker-Peters, who I kind of wanted for us in all honesty. I thought he'd be a decent squad option.
Yeah, very good signing, I think. The rumours are pretty dry at the moment. It seems to be we're linked with our next 30-plus-year-old striker with a bad injury record in Callum Wilson. So who knows? By the time this is out, that might be on, and it'll be more doom and gloom for West Ham. Someone they probably should have signed 5 years ago.
I told you you'd get strikers, more shit ones, but you get. Actually, I say that Callum Wilson always scores against us. He
always scores against us, but he's 33.
Yeah, fuck. Mate, watch him do bits for West Ham. I can see that working for you. But yeah, cool. Do you want to take a break, then get into our predictions?
Let's do it.
Yeah, and we're back with our predictions then. So, Tom, how do you want to do this in a league format? Do you want to start at the top and work down, or at the bottom and work up?
Let's start from the top. We'll brush through some of the top six sides that are inevitably going to be in there, and then we'll get onto the nitty gritty of the other 14 when we get to sort of eighth and like lower, really, where majority of them appear.
Okay, I feel
unless you've gone really rogue.
I've gone bold. I've gone pretty bold with a lot of stuff in here. I'm not gonna lie, and yeah, I just thought fuck it. I might as well, because you never know. Who knew Forest would end up so high last year? Like, might as well give it a go. How do you want to do it then? Do you want to? We'll start with a number, and then we'll say which one we have in each place, and then make a final decision on it.
Yeah. So in first position, winning the title, I have Liverpool doing a repeat. What about you?
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about those teams. I mean, like, let's start with like my first one starts at 5. What about you for the other 14?
Yeah. My first for the other 14 is 5.
Okay, cool. Should we start there? Okay, I'll go first. My number 5 is Newcastle. I had.
Yeah, I've gone Newcastle as well, and I feel a little less confident about it right now as we record than I did when I put it in. Yeah, the Isaac news is interesting. It seems like he's angling for a move away right now.
Yeah, it's weird. I didn't see that one coming at all. Like, it kind of shits on all our talk we've had about Newcastle being the perfect place for players and them not wanting to leave once they're there. But then with his rumours being to Liverpool and they've just signed that Ekitike.
Ekitike, yeah.
Yeah, Ekitike. We were linked with him fucking last summer, amazingly. Like, he wanted to come to us at one point, which I guess better. Good, because Mateta, I love Mateta, but yeah. Yeah, it's a weird
You've
one.
managed to turn this into Crystal Palace talk
Yeah,
like less than
instantly.
20 seconds after saying.
But no, but that's a weird one. Why? Where do you think he's angling for Liverpool? Or
I think so, or maybe seeing what Barca and Real Madrid are open to, but from the sounds of it, they're probably looking at more like next season.
yeah, that's crazy.
But, Newcastle, they do. The reason why I've put them fifth is they have probably the strongest starting 11 right now, and with the addition of Anthony Elanga, I think they've got a few more rotational pieces in attack. Even if Isak was staying, they kind of needed a backup striker, but it seems like they're going all out for Visser, which is a really good sort of signing. Like I think from Brentford, and I think that would be perfect. But maybe not if he's supposed to. If he has to be the Isak replacement, might be a little bit too much on his shoulders.
Yeah, I
But when
think
you've
that's
got players yeah, when you've got players like Tonali, Guimaraes, Joe Linton in midfield, and like Sven Botman coming back from injury, really talented fullbacks like Livramento and Hall, and Nick Pope or possibly even James Trafford coming in goal. Like they've got a really, really good 11, and as I say, they've bolstered in attack a little bit.
yeah. I think as it goes, my predictions they drop down quite a bit. I think they've probably got the strongest midfield in the other 14, maybe even in the league.
Yeah,
But
definitely, I think for me. But I think the other thing that they might struggle with is the Champions League aspect of it as well. Like,
yeah,
as I say, they've got a really strong 11, but their depth isn't good, and it proved so last year as well. Like they struggled at times, but are they going to be, if they lose Isak, are they going to be able to manage both competitions and any sort of run in either of the domestic cups?
well, if they lose him, they're going to lose him for big money as well, aren't they? So that's the thing. But are they going to have enough time once he goes? Because it'll probably end up being a massive saga. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And will they have enough time to get a good player for the right price at the end of that, or will they end up splurging on someone who they probably don't need or isn't going to fill that?
I think he probably stays. My gut feeling is he probably stays one more season and then moves on. Like one of the other European elite sort of will come in for him. Like it's a good chance for Newcastle to get the money for him and then reimburse when they've actually got a plan for it. Whereas at the moment, this summer, it's all feeling a bit panic stations. Like we weren't expecting him to like want to leave, sort of thing.
You think he's planting the seeds? To be fair, it might just be new contract like negotiation. In all
Possibly.
honesty, because we're only seeing like bits of the news at the moment, aren't we? And we don't know how concrete it is with it all. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we've got Newcastle in fifth.
I didn't think we'd agree on the first one so easily. Okay,
Right,
where's your
we're
next?
definitely not agreeing on six.
Okay, where's what if you put West Ham in sixth?
Oh God, no, no. I'm far more realistic than that. No, I have Brighton and Hove Albion finishing
Okay,
sixth.
I'm Brighton. I have Villa, so I'm very recent season biased. I think with these two, if I'm being honest. Like I see Villa being quite strong. I see them strengthening. I see them learning from last year, and yeah, I think they've got a good shout. Where did you have Villa in the table for yourself?
Well, I dropped them down a couple of places because of my bold prediction, which we'll come on to later. But I've got them eighth, so they'll be there or thereabouts. And as I say, I dropped them down a couple of places because of my bold prediction. I think they'll have a really good season, but they've got the Europa League, and they'll want to go far in either of the domestic cups as well. They've got an excellent squad. As we sort of mentioned on the preview sort of podcast, they're doing interesting things again in the transfer window, so it's going to be really interesting to see how that squad settles once the window closes and what sort of rhythm they get into the league. But I do just think the Thursday Sunday football is they're going to have an eye on some. I think they can go really far in the Europa League, so I've dropped them down to eighth, and yeah.
It's interesting because I have Brighton in eighth, so they were my next highest one. So yeah, it's crazy how we've actually.
Well, the reasoning for Brighton is they don't have the European football. So a team that was on very, very nearly on the cusp of getting European football last year, not having that European football this year, the reinforcements they've made, I think they've really done well in the transfer market with their defenders, and I think that's going to allow them to like be so much more fresher for the league than do Newcastle's, your Villas, who are having to juggle 4 competitions.
Was Brighton's European football last year? Have I tried to black it out so much in my mind that
No, I think it was the year before.
Year before, yeah. I was losing my mind there for a second. But yeah,
You're just trying to remember that time they got battered by Roma, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, no,
Sorry,
I think we spoke about it, didn't we? Like, I think everything's going to click for them this year. I think the manager's going to have enough experience in the league to know what to do now, know what to expect. There ain't going to be any of those like 7-0 batterings. They're probably going to be the ones doing the 7-0 batterings with their young squad and all the players they're getting in. So yeah, that's why I had them in 8th, in all honesty. But that's probably more. If they weren't our bitter rivals, I'd probably have them where you have them in 6, if I'm being brutally honest with it. But no, I think probably should touch a bit more on Brighton, honestly, because they have brought a lot of players in already, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think as I mentioned just before, like what they've done in defence has been really impressive. Like players like Basagli, De Kuyper, and that, like they clearly Herzl realised that defence was a weak part last year. Like you don't get beat 7-0 in a game without having some defensive inefficiencies, but they also had aging players like Joel Veltman who are out of contract, sort of thing, and like some players like Tariq Lamptey who's like not really like progressed as you would hope, sort of thing. So I think they really needed to like rejig that defence quite aggressively, and they have done so. Like they brought in starting caliber players as well. So I think that's what's really impressive. And then I think the attacking changes that they've made, like letting Simon Adingra go, obviously selling João Pedro, but they've brought in really young, talented, hungry players, and they've still got that guy Welbeck up front. Like
Welbs.
Like he got 10 goals last season. He's almost like, he feels like the perfect striker for young players to learn off as well, because he's not over the hill, but he's still like, you can compete with him. He seems like a really nice bloke as well, so like I'm sure he is not as much of an egotist when it comes to like nurturing young talent through into the squad.
Yeah, I 100% trust, believe you on that one as well. I'm scared of the Greek geezer they've signed from Olympiacos, the Kostas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Greek Cypriot. I probably pronounced that horrendously badly, but yeah, I've already earmarked him to be scoring like fucking 2 goals against us at the Amex and shushing the Palace fans. Can see it written all over. Like, yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared.
I suppose the other thing to mention for Brighton is at the moment, as we record, no one's come in for their midfielders like Baliba and Ayari. So if they manage to keep those midfielders, those are really young, talented midfielders, and with another, like the same with a lot of their squad and the manager, with another year's experience, I feel like they're primed to make that step and to actually finish in a European place this season, where they were unfortunate not to last year. But yeah, so I've got Brighton in 6th and Villa in 8th, and you've got them the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay, number 9. This is the beginning of my my bold fucking predictions. Have you got anyone in 9 from the other 14?
No, my other 14. The rest of the other 14 for me starts from 10 on.
Cool. Okay, my 9, and probably going to lose viewers here because they're going to think I'm a fucking idiot. I've got Everton at 9.
Everton in 9th. Wow.
I think Moyes is going to have the most Moyes season ever, and like play dreadful football, but get Everton in a stable base throughout the whole season, never worrying about anything. And it's going to be really good times at, what's it called, the new stadium? The
Hill Dickinson?
Hill Dickinson. I think that stadium's going to be rocking for them by the end of the season, and they're going to have a really good time. I don't know why. I just got a feeling that I'm probably thinking of 04-05 Moyes, getting them to the Champions League, or was it 3-04? That's what I'm picturing in my head for this season.
He had a lot more colour on his head and a lot less wrinkles in his face than he does now. But I've got Everton in 14th. I think I completely agree with you on the fact that they won't be battling relegation all season. I think Moyes' recent history is that he's comfortable enough to be able to do that. Like they'll they'll sort of maybe peter between like 15th and probably 10th throughout the season, like up and down each week sort of thing, but without ever really feeling like the stress of the relegation fears that they have done for the previous seasons. My one fear with them is probably what we've touched on in the previews, is they're going to have to integrate quite a few players and go to a new stadium. So I just don't think they'll be able to click all of that. And I think a couple of the other teams are a bit more settled and stronger to be able to maintain where they finished sort of last season and stuff. So I've gone a little bit less bold, and I've got Everton in a steady 14th.
I've really gone down a dreamer route rather than the actual like logical route with my
Hey, it's great. I'm glad we've got very different ones.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I've got one of the tops. Well, say top six. I've got United in 10th. But yeah, who do you have in 10th?
In 10th, I've got Fulham. I
Fulham.
think,
Okay, that's good.
yeah, just like a steady, experienced Premier League team, but they don't necessarily have the like pizzazz in the squad to be able to like elevate them to the Brightons, the Villa level, like where they can make like consistent progress up into one of the European spots. But I think there's just absolutely that, like the floor for Fulham is really high. Like the quality of the players that they've got in the squad, like the defenders like Anderson, Bassey, Robinson, etc., and like Leno in goal. I don't think you're going to have like a really low floor where I don't see them really being like anywhere near worried about relegation zone. They'll be looking, I think, to try and get into one of those European spots. But then, as I say, I don't think they've necessarily got the ceiling like talent to be able to punch through, and I think it's going to be even busier than it was last season up there. I think there's going to be quite a few teams who are in a really good position to challenge for those European spots, and I just don't see Fulham being able to match with some of those heavy hitters.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I've got a clump of teams between 11th and 15th. Well, I think all of the teams could probably be interchangeable, and Fulham sit in 13 for me, because I think there's a lot of teams in that bracket at the moment where steady Premier League clubs, but they're going to need like not a miracle season, but like a good run and maybe one player to stand out to take them to that next level. Which I think Fulham are one team that don't have that. Like, would you agree?
That's what kind of what I'm saying is like,
Yeah.
like who's their like standout talismanic sort of player? Like they've got really good like floor, like really good experienced Premier League players, but do they have those one or two like maverick players to like get them over the line to into a European spot, or are they going to unfortunately finish like?
Yeah, it's like
I still think that's a good situation to be in for Fulham.
yeah, it's like Hugo said. I think it was in last week's pod about if they got like Doug Luiz or someone going box to box in the middle that takes them up the next level. You could see that team like incorporating them well and going on a bit of a run and maybe pushing more to where we've got Brighton and Villa sitting.
Yeah, maybe by the end of the window.
Cool. Okay. Move on to your 11th then. I wonder if we get these. I think we might get the same for 11. Who do you have there?
I've got the Cherries. I've got Bournemouth.
Oh, fair. No, I got Forest in 11 for me. How come you had Bournemouth so high?
I think the attack has been really stable, and they've also got this young striker, Junior Krupi, coming from Lorient, who they signed in January, and for the deal to come in the summer. With Evan Nilsson, Antoine Semenyo, Justin Kluivert is still there. Like Alex Scott is a really good young player. They've got like really good, consistent attackers who have been there season on season under Iraola. Whereas I know the downside, and I think probably why you've dropped them down a few places, is the defenders who have left or might still be leaving, with like Huijsen and Kerkez and Zabani. But I think they've replaced Kerkez with Adrien Traffert, and really they had Marco Senesi. If they can keep Zabani, then they've got those two. They just need to find like a third, possibly second, like central defender. They don't need to do a ton to be able to stay in 11th, like to be able to be 11th, 10th, thereabouts.
Yeah, I had them down in 15th in all honesty, because I just think, yeah, I just think it's a bit too. I'm literally the opposite side of you. I think it's a bit too much upheaval for them to mount it. But I don't see how a squad can change that much after such a good period and be okay. Would you
Yeah.
disagree? Do you think they're spending money well? Do you think it's just? I guess you outlined it all there, didn't you?
I think
Really?
so. I mean, they brought in Petrovic as the goalkeeper replacement for Kepa, who is a younger, a lot more to prove, but in this stage of their careers, versus 30-plus-year-old Kepa, the ceiling for Petrovic is higher. That's why he was bought by Chelsea. That's why Bournemouth have decided to spend 20 plus million on him, and their recent signings would say, all right, that's probably a good bet to make. Like, what of Bournemouth's recent signings haven't really panned out. So
True.
you kind of sort of say like, all right, I'll give that a go. That might be an upgrade even from Kepa. Like, we know who Kepa was before that Bournemouth season, sort of like going around like being a backup goalkeeper for Real Madrid, etc. Like, he wasn't a star player. So, I think again, I trust Iraola to get them dragged up a little bit. Like, I don't think the fall off is going to be that bad. If they had a new manager and that as well, then I'd be a bit more pessimistic. But yeah, I think Bournemouth will be okay.
I guess a bit of it. Maybe you're making me change my mind, but thinking like there were so many players that were playing well in that team. It maybe you got to look at Areola and just be like, he's getting the best out of players. So who's to say he's not going to get best out of new players they bring in and the other players that are still there? I mean, attacking wise, nothing's really changed for him, has it? So you got to feel a little bit confident. I don't know. I think I said it before as well. Just the upheaval just makes me worried for him. But
Yeah, it's a fair shout.
yeah, cool. Who do you have sat in 12?
This was the first name I wrote in.
Yeah,
It's Crystal Palace, of
yeah.
course.
That's our place. No one's taking that away from us.
You'll
Team-
you'll start crying if you don't finish in 12th. It will either be too scary being high in the league, or you'll be worried that Europe has derailed your squad and you're facing relegation. Like,
Hey, that's it.
if you're not in 12th.
When I started this, I had us down in 17th, 18th, and then 15th, and then I was just like, you know what? No matter what happens, we're going to be 12th. It's always fucking 12. I don't know
always
how
12.
it happens every year, but
Even though you had like, what was it, like 7 extra points this season compared to like the year before, like you had a decent bump up in points and it was still 12th.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how it happens, but it just will. I don't think there's too much more for me to touch on Palace because I've talked about him so much already, but I just think we could go further down than 12th because of the European campaign if we do get into the group stages of Conference League or if we're in the group stages of Europa League. That'll be the main thing, seeing how the players and squad handle it. I think, like you said, Glasner's just going to play the full strength team no matter what, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with injuries and whatnot through that. And yeah, just the hangover of all the good stuff last season is going to be a real interesting one for Palace fans, and I hope it's a good one, but I've got a feeling it'll probably be a mediocre come down. Oh, what am I talking about? It'll be fucking awesome with Europe if we get in there. If we don't get in there, it could be a mediocre come down, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, moving on to 13th, I've got West Ham.
West Ham,
It's,
13th.
yeah, it's not going to be a fun season, I don't think. It's going to be more sort of building like a decent base under Graham Potter. I think there might be some like weeks or months where things aren't going as well for us, but then I think there'll be some spells where things are clicking. I do just think like, even though like I've been saying like on paper our squad is pretty good, like, but they haven't been playing as a team. Give them the summer, like make a few changes, like hopefully they can settle into a formation sort of thing. I just think we finished sort of 14th, 15th last season, like we'll see a slight increase, but it won't be anything that sets the ground alight.
That's fair enough. So, another one of my bold predictions. I've got West Ham in 18th.
All right, podcast over. Like, I'm gonna leave. Friendship done.
No, I was going between Wolves and West Ham, and I probably will put West Ham in 17th if I'm being honest. Oh no, man. You've watched them more, I'll give you that, but I'm worried for you guys a bit because I've got in the back of my head it could all go a little bit wrong for you in the first few games, and then it like snowballs for Potter. He's gone. Who do you get in after that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we can't bring David Moyes back for a third time. He's got another job.
Well, yeah. Imagine if you see Roy in your dugout.
Nah, that won't happen. Is that man still allowed to manage football games? Like,
Might add that to my bold prediction as well. No, we talked about it, didn't we? I was like, what positives are you going to take out of what you saw at the end of last season and what you got going forward. And it is Jared Bowen, it's Wan-Bissaka for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the signing of Carl Walker-Peters and you've we're clearly sort of seemingly moving to a sort of more of a wing back, but I think there's talent in the squad, and last season they underperformed, so it's kind of like last chance for a lot of them. Like Fulkrug needs to prove his worth. Like in the midfield, players like Edson Alvarez, Thomas Souček, James Ward-Prowse, like they are older players, so we need to blend in some youth into that.
It's weak, not weak, but there's not a lot in that midfield anymore, really, is there? If we're being honest,
There's no legs for sure.
Yeah, like what would you be your starting three in midfield if you had three sitting there?
It's probably at this moment in time, and Edson Alvarez, James Ward-Prowse, or Thomas Souček and Lucas Paqueta. But we'll see what happens with Paqueta's court case, and if he does get found guilty, obviously he's got a lifetime ban. If he doesn't get found guilty, then he might get sold to sort of like close the books on that part of his career. And yeah, but I think we've still got some money, at least from the Kudus sale. Like we are looking at midfielders as our like sort of priority. Like apparently Potter's sort of said he's kind of happy with the striker situation, even though I would be looking at a younger striker. You've got like Fulkrug, you've got Jared Bowen who can play up there, and I think we'll probably likely see some of him playing up there. And also he played Paqueta there at times. But I think we've got enough talent in the squad to not like be in a relegation battle throughout the season. But as I say, I don't think it's going to be punching heavy much higher.
Boy, if there's a Bowen injury, how does that scare
20th?
Does that scare you? Like same like for us with Wilf for years. It's like a Wilf injury for a majority of the season.
100%. 100%. But I think you could say that about a lot of the teams down here. If Mateta got injured, who's going to score you enough goals to stay up, sort of thing? Like if Chris Wood gets injured for Forest, they're going to be relying on their new striker.
It's hard. I know. I'm feeling for you guys and watch it get proved wrong, and you guys end up fucking in the European places.
There's no chance of that for sure.
Okay, so what was that? That was 13, and
that was 13 for me.
Yeah, I originally had Fulham there. So
okay.
We're going to move on to 14th, where you had Everton. So
I had Everton in 14, yeah.
Yeah, did you discuss why you had Everton down there? I can't remember.
Yeah, when you discussed they were going to finish sort of 9th, 10th.
Yeah, I have Brentford in 14th. So
interesting. I've got Brentford in 16th.
You got them in 16th, yeah. I think we're both going to have similar reasons why they're so far down the table. They're obviously losing Mbeumo, losing Norgard, and looks like they're going to lose Visser as well and change of manager. I think 14th they'll be okay. They'll get through the season probably without any worries with Keith Andrews in charge, just playing the system they were playing before. But I don't think it's going to be the most enjoyable season for Brentford fans, because I feel like they've probably been on this upward like spike for years now and had like very memorable nights at the G-Tech. I feel like it might plateau when they start having those, it feels weird calling this, but those boring shit West Ham, Crystal Palace seasons where it's just druid football, but you stay in the league, you pick up maybe one win against a big six team, and it's like that's what keeps you going. Do you know exactly what I mean? Just mid-table.
100%. Yeah. It's the seasons that establish you as a other 14 side. Like it's not necessarily the seasons that Brentford have had where they've almost got into Europe and they've had strikers scoring 20 goals a season, etc. Like it is those seasons where you finish 15th, but you're not necessarily like fighting relegation throughout the season, or you have some bad times but you're settled as you've got the experience of being in the Premier League. You grind out results on cold rainy nights, etc. You do just enough to like keep your head above water throughout the season. And I agree as well. Like I think I've got them a couple places lower in 16th, but that might be we're only 5 points away from the relegation zone for a certain period of time, sort of thing. But I think at the end of the season, it'll be like, actually, we finished 8 points clear or 10 points clear, sort of thing. And it's like, okay, really, it was never like we're right in the like teeth of this relegation fight. But it's like it's also, I just think like you can't not have some regression with your league finish when you've got that amount of turnover. And it's so hard to replace that kind of like talent as well. Like
Well, they've got to
replacing
replace
two
40
of your
goals.
front three is insane. Like it just doesn't happen to most teams.
No, 40 goals they got to replace, isn't it? Because in Bournemouth, we've both got 20. Like, that's no easy task, even if you get one good player in.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like they've got like Igor Thiago to come in, I think, for like who they signed to be Tony's replacement sort of thing. I'm sure they'll do some smart stuff to try and replace Embuemo and that, but it's just like that's a lot to ask for any new signings or in like players who haven't played as well, like Fabio Carvalho, if he's still part of their plans, sort of thing. Like
you fucking
it's
hate
just,
him. I swear you got a vendetta against him.
I'm just waiting for him to prove his worth, but all I hear from Fulham fans of it is how talented he is. So
Oh, but yeah, I feel like for Brentford fans, this may not be the season where you get the end of season review DVD to watch, if clubs even still fucking make those. But yeah, cool. Okay, so then moving on to 15th, I had Bournemouth there, so I already spoke about why I thought they'd be down there. Who do you have?
I have Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, I thought it might be. Do you think they're going to
Where did you have Forest? 13th.
I had Forest at 11th.
11th. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. So we both kind of predicting some regression for Forest.
Yeah, I thought there'd be some drop off with Forest just because of the European nights, like either tournament they're in, similar things to like Palace, like maybe regression with it. But I think losing Langa is going to be a big problem for him because he was the one that. This may be complete bullshit I'm saying, but I feel like he was the one that stayed fit a bit longer than Hudson Odoi did in the season. So he was like more reliable. I feel like if you're not getting that service up to Chris Wood anymore, they're going to suffer. I think they'll keep holding more against White and they'll still have an okay season. But I think all their focus will probably be towards those European nights, lots of nostalgia at the City Ground, and it'll be all the eggs in that basket compared to Premier League. So I think they might sack off a few games in the Premier League for better outcomes in Europe.
Yeah, that's why I've got them down in 15th. Like I think they'll have a similar season to one of the ones that we had when we were in the Europa and the Conference League in recent years. Like the season we won the Conference League, we finished 15th and we're rubbish in the league. Like really sort of just it's almost from like November time the team kind of looked like they went we're not going to finish like top 10 realistically, so we've got a real good chance of winning a European trophy this year, so we just put all of our eggs in that basket, and the rest of the season was a real slog of just sort of doing enough to stay up. But everything, like that's the only thing that season is remembered for is the trophy celebration and like the crazy night in Prague and the trophy parade and everything after. So I think if Forest, like, obviously at this time of recording, we don't know which competition, Europa or Conference League, they're going to be in, but I think they'll want to give their best in that European competition, given, as you said, like the history of the club on a European scale, like the first time they've been in a European competition in so long, they'll want to put their best foot forward on that front. And with the size of Forest squad and similarly to Newcastle, quite a significant drop off after their sort of starters, and losing Anthony Elanga, maybe losing Gibbs White, we'll see on that one. I just don't know if they're going to have enough to repeat a really high league position and also challenge on a European front.
Yeah, I don't see him losing more Gibbs White, but yeah, I agree with you on everything like that. And I think from Planty we had on from 100 Things We Learned from Film podcast. Go check that out if you haven't already. I think he may have even said in his expectations 15th but a 2-1 win in the Europa League final. So I could probably see, I honestly got a feeling whatever European tournament Forest are in, I can see them going deep in it and it being really special nights at the City Ground. Like, I'd love to be able to go there and view it myself, but I'll definitely be checking those games out on TV because there's going to be so much to do with Brian Clough and their 2 Champions Leagues, like, on all those nights. So, yeah, I think the Forest fans are going to give a real good showing in Europe. Even though Palace fans are meant to hate Forest fans right now. I'm not one of those. Cool. Okay, so that was 15th, wasn't it? So we're moving on to 16th. Who do you had? Brentford?
I had Brentford. Yeah, I had Brentford in 16th.
Okay, I have Leeds in 16th. So they are my highest finishing of the newly promoted teams. I did see the news though after I made this list that they're losing. Not losing. The geezer's not turning up to training. What's his
Oh,
name?
Matteo Joseph is
Yeah.
angling for a move away. I don't think that's necessarily as big news as it sort of feels like. He wasn't necessarily one of the first names on the team sheet last year. So
I feel like was it Ant our Leeds fan? He was saying that we're expecting a lot from him this season, or just hoping there could be
hoping
something.
and
Yeah,
expecting him to
hoping.
make a step up sort of thing, but he's not one of the names that I necessarily think they've relied on.
No, that's fair enough. I've just got him there because I think Ellen Road is it's a horrible place to go. I think for teams. I mean, I say that last time we were there, we got a good win. I'd like to go experience it as a away fan and see what the atmosphere is there is actually like. But I see Leeds just having memorable days because it's what Leeds kind of do when they're in the Premier League, don't they? They're not going to go down without a fight, I don't think.
Yeah, they've made some interesting signings. They've got a lot of seemingly 26, 27 year olds that they're signing, so they're kind of going for that, like, all right, like experienced like footballers. Like some of them haven't got Premier League experience, but some of them do, like Sean Longstaff sort of thing. I have them in finishing in 17th, and
One
I'm
below.
just so just one below. It might just be more a hope for me because I've got so many Leeds mates that I'm like, like it'd be nice for them to stay up, to sort of have that, like, to be able to face them a couple of times each year and see how they're doing, sort of thing. Have that like bit of friendly rivalry with them, and that. I think for all three promoted teams, it's going to be really, really difficult to stay up. Like I think, but I do think this is possibly the season more so than the last couple, where there's a bit more vulnerability in some of the other teams. So that's why I've got Leeds just sort of pipping survival in 17th.
Okay, nice. Okay, in 17th for myself, I have Wolves, who I think I'm going to stick with it. I'm sticking with West Ham in 18th, mate. You
As I
may hate
said, podcast is over, mate.
you may hate me. Would you do this if West Ham win a championship?
Yeah, I probably would, because I'd need something to take away from the depression of West Ham being relegated.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Wolves because I think they're going to struggle, but I see Victor Pereira just getting a bit for them to get over the line, I guess.
Well, I've got them in 18th.
You got them in 18th.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny because I remember I really, like, as I said in the previous sort of podcast, like I really bought into that winning spell, and then the tail off after losing Mateus Cunha and Aït-Nouri and sort of Semedo and a couple others. Like, I just don't know if they're going to have the experience and quality to stay up, and I think they're not bringing in players of like Premier League's like experience as well. They've signed I think John Arias from Fluminense as like the I think sort of the replacement for Cunha, which has been a positive. Like everyone really raving about it, but he's 27 years old, so like he's been playing in the Brazilian league sort of thing. So like there's one question to that, is like, why is he making the sort of move so late sort of thing? Is he going to be sort of ready to come firing in the Premier League? Because Wolves are going to need that. Like they've got some good, like we said on the preview pod, they do have some good talented players like Strand Larson, Andre, João Gomez and that. But is it, okay, was that 7-game spell, which really was all that kept them up, was that a blip? Was that like
Was it a new manager bounce? Was it? Yeah, it was
exactly,
all that.
like, is that sustainable over the course of a 38-game season? I'm unsure, and similarly to like part and parcel with me wanting Leeds to stay up sort of thing. This is obviously just our predictions, so I've gone for Wolves in 18th.
Yeah, I think I went bold with West Ham going down, and I needed Wolves to stay up if that was going to be
You
the
just
case.
wanted to rattle me, I know.
I do, I really do. I rattle. We played tennis the other week, and I rattled you there, and I'm going to rattle you in this as well, both physically and mentally getting at you. Oh God. Okay, I think so. I'm guessing in 19th and 20th we have the same teams, just maybe the other way around. Who have you got in 19th?
I've got Burnley in 19th and
Have you?
Sunderland
Okay.
in 20th.
Yeah, I have Sunderland in 19th and Burnley in 20th. I mean, I really I really want Sunderland and Burnley to have a good season and for them to buck the trend of not going down. But it's hard. It's hard to agree with it. Maybe we don't know enough about them. That may be the case. Maybe.
Yeah, who knows? One of them, like Sunderland, might be a real surprise factor this season. Like we've seen, like teams come in and really sort of like surprise, like take everyone, like catch everyone off guard, and Sunderland might be able to do that because I think there's probably a lot of Premier League fans similar to us who don't know a lot about this Sunderland and they're not entirely sure what to expect. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's some opposing Premier League like managers and that. Like obviously they've got all the scouting and everything, but they're not going to know 100%, especially with the amount of players that Sunderland are bringing in, like young, quite like they're splashing around some cash. They've already, at the time of recording, spent over 100 mil. Like they're going to look like a different beast than they were in the Championship. So it might take some team. I mean, we've got them on the first game of the season. So Sunderland fans, I've got you down for relegation, but you're absolutely going to get 3 points off us on the first weekend. So,
oh, mate, this is a thing. Like, whenever we start, well, especially when we came up, and whenever we start seasons, it's always be like, yeah, I see Palace going down, see Palace going down. I'd see not that we're pundits, we're just fucking armchair wankers, but see pundits too. I'd always be like, fuck you, you don't know my team, you don't know what's going on, we're going to prove it wrong. And yeah, when it came to choosing this, I wanted to be like that, but you just got to kind of go off what you know about all the other teams, haven't you? And it's like, that's why these teams are ending up down now. I reckon if I had more of an insight on every single club the way I do about Palace, I'd be looking at this and it may be placed out differently.
well, you say that. I think also what plays into our thinking is the last 2 seasons we've seen all 3 promoted teams go down. So we might have a bit of scar tissue as fans of 2 Premier League teams who majority watch the Premier League. We might have a bit of scar tissue of saying, well, the last 2 seasons, the 6 promoted teams haven't been very good. Like they've pretty much stayed in the relegation zone for a large period of the time and then ultimately gone back down. So it would be very bold for us to sit here and say all 3 are going to stay up. It would be bold enough to say 1 is going to stay up, in my opinion. That's why I've even only got Leeds in 17th. Is whilst I'm optimistic and hopeful for like all 3 of them, like Burnley, Sunderland fans, don't get us wrong, we would love nothing more than to upset the apple cart and to see like the likes of Brentford and Crystal Palace get relegated.
You had to get the knife in there, didn't you?
Of course I did. Like, but it's just sort of giving our predictions as what we think will happen, and you know we don't know everything. This it's guaranteed to be completely wrong come May, but at this time, this is just what we're thinking. And the reason I got Burnley just ahead of Sunderland is what we said about in the preview. The promoted 3 pods is their defensive record. I think that sort of like will grab them a couple more draws, whereas I think Sunderland might be a little bit more open and might be susceptible to some more humbling defeats maybe.
Yeah, see, I'm the other way around. I'm going for Sunderland above Burnley because of like what I said about Leeds. I think the Stadium of Light could become a real bit of a fortress for them, but I still don't think they'll have enough to maybe get over the line in games like Leeds will. And I'm worried that Burnley's defensive record in the Championship, if the momentum of that doesn't start at any point in the season, why it could be quite crushing ones for them. And I haven't got a lot of faith in Scott Parker either. Is that me being bad? I mean, was it Alex?
No, definitely we mentioned it, and Alex mentioned it on our previews podcast. Like there's a chance that Scott Parker isn't there at the end of the season. Like he's been sacked from 2 Premier League jobs, or has left 2 Premier League jobs, whatever you want to call it, sort of thing. Like there's no reason why to think that he'll make it through the full season of a team that is likely to be struggling around the relegation spot. Like owners get twitchy and they might go, well, Sean Dyche is free, he knows the club inside and out, he's a relegation survivalist but like specialist. Like what if we're struggling come December, let's call up Sean and bring the sultry gravelly tones back to Turf Moor. Like
it's just cyclical, isn't it, football? It's all cyclical. Moyes back at Everton, Dyche back at Burnley, yeah. But no, I think just let's end our predictions there by saying we don't really want Sunderland, Burnley. I kind of want West Ham to go down just to see Tom implode, but yeah, let's end there. I think
3 teams have to go down, and all 3 of them will be Crystal Palace. There we go.
So cool. Okay, so on to our next one. What do you want to do? Our MVP from the other 14 teams.
Yeah, we kind of touched on mine earlier, but I've gone homerism. I've gone for West Ham's Jared Bowen. And one of the big reasons for this was I was worried that if I pick anyone else, that they'll be sold in the transfer window before, and there won't be yet an under 14 team at the end of the window. Whereas I know for sure Jared Bowen ain't going nowhere.
Famous last words. I cannot wait to clip that up in a social and edit it when he
No,
goes.
no, because Danny Dyer will not let him go anywhere.
Where's the Curb Your Enthusiasm music when you need it?
Oh, don't
Oh,
worry, it will come at some point. But no, I really don't think Jared Bowen is leaving West Ham. Like, I think he's retiring at West Ham, and like anything, like the reason why I picked him is also if West Ham are any good this season, a large part of that is going to be down to Jared Bowen. Like we sort of said, like in our sort of reviews of last year, the only good things at West Ham last year were Jared Bowen and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and like I'm hopeful, obviously, as a West Ham fan, as an optimist, that there'll be more good things. But I still think even when there's more good things, even in previous seasons when like Kudus, Paqueta and Antonio were firing, Bowen was right up there firing with them. And he might not get the necessarily looks. He's not as like flary. He's not as like, I don't know, glitz and glamorous or like appealing as Lucas Paqueta or Mohamed Kudus, but he's much more efficient, much more consistent. Like Jared Bowen rarely ever drops a less than 7 out of 10. Like really rarely for him to have that sort of off day. I think under Potter, he's probably likely. It seems like we might play a bit more of a 3-5-2, where he might play up front with a Fulkrug or with Paqueta or someone. And whilst that's not my favourite role for him to play, I think he's one of the best right wingers in the league. Like I think we should have that formation that puts him in his best place. But if he does hit as a striker, then he'll add even more goals to someone who's been getting sort of early, like between sort of 10 and 13 each goal sort of each season. If he can add a few more onto that, then I think that's why I've picked him as my MVP.
no, I could agree with you. I think I was going down the same route with some Palace players when I was thinking of MVP, just because like a bit of hope, I guess, as well to it as well. Like I hope this player's going to be seen by like the rest of the league. I mean, Bowen's already seen by the rest of the league as being like one of the top players outside of the top six. But my first MVP, well, I've got a few here, but my first one I went for was going to be Isak, just because of like what he did last year, and I can't see him not doing that again. And Newcastle will strengthen him, but then, like you said about literally you chose Bowen because you didn't know who would leave, and it looks like maybe I fucked that one there. So then I also had Elanga because I thought him in that team with Isak would be really good. I think he might go to Newcastle and have like be taken in by the fans, play some of his best football. He's got to have had the talent to be at that United academy and everything like that. So, I could see him taken off. But then I settled on my MVP would be some random player's name I don't know yet. That is my MVP. Some random player I do not know from Brighton is going to have an absolute storm of the season and take them into their European football journey. That's what I am. That's my MVP.
Well, on that, I think if it's going to be anyone for Brighton, it'll probably be Carlos Baleba. Like, I think him sort of like running the midfield, like he's just young enough now that like his next year, like he's in his early 20s sort of thing. Like he's maturing with every season, every game. Like I think there's going to be a lot of they like the Moises Caicedo regen sort of talk and stuff like that. And like I think he had a really good season last year. I think he's going to build on that, and I think people more pundits etc. are going to see like and go, oh, Baleba is what makes this Brighton team tick. Like Hertzler does this interesting tactic, just to go deep dive really, like he kind of vacates a lot of the central midfield position and has like his midfielders come forward as like strikers almost to like give a sort of tactic, a different tactic for the defenders. But Baleba's always generally in that midfield, so like he is the general for Fabian Hertzler in that midfield, and I think like tactically a lot of the things run through him as well. But my other one would be, if I was going sort of central midfielder wise, I think Sandro Tonali at Newcastle. We got a little bit of stick for not having him in our team of the season. He had an excellent season for Newcastle. We went Bruno Guimaraes, but I think if Tonali has another good season, like improving year on year, then I think good things will come to Newcastle. But then also there might be eyes from Europeans, like elite clubs, looking to poach him, like there are for Isaac. So
Yeah, I feel like we're both thinking Newcastle going to have a pretty impressive season, and watch them completely drop off now with the Champions League. We're going to look like we're going to look like idiots for so many things we've said in this already. But yeah, like I said, I think some random Brighton player for mine, because I think I can already hear it. I can already hear 100 mil going from Chelsea to Brighton, literally. In the background for next summer. Cool. Okay, and then what's your bold prediction? I've already said one of my bold predictions about West Ham being relegated.
Well, I've got one. I've got a team one and I've got a player one. So my team one is what I was alluding to earlier, and the reason why I've got Aston Villa in 8th position is that I think they will win a trophy this season, either the Europa League or a domestic cup. And I'm probably leaning to the Europa League, given it's Unai Emery's competition. I think they could really turn around the disappointment of not managing Champions League last year, and whilst they got really far in the Champions League and ultimately didn't get over the hump against PSG, but probably gave PSG their toughest fight of the competition. I think coming down into the Europa League, using that experience, just the sheer amount of quality that they have throughout the squad, I think they're going to be absolutely primed under Emery to make a run at the Europa League. And yeah, my bold prediction will be that they'll win a trophy, and I'm thinking the Europa League.
That's a really good bold prediction, actually. I like that one. That was one of the ones that didn't come to my head. So I had West Ham going down, but I also, and I've said it before already, Sunderland beating Newcastle home and away. That's another bold prediction I have. I just see that one coming. What about your player one? What's your player one?
My player one is that Chris Wood will score less than 7 Premier League goals this season.
Oh, that's a pretty good
having scored 20 last season. I just think. And similar to what I was saying about Forest, sort of thing, like the Thursday, Sunday football, Chris Wood's in his 30s now. He's not going to be able to play every single game in 2 competitions, let alone the domestic cups. Without Anthony Elanga, Hudson-Odoi's always going to have injury troubles. I don't think he's ever going to make a full season without having some period of time out. Gibbs White maybe stays, maybe goes, sort of thing. They're not settled, and they don't have the same sort of continuity going into the season. I just think Chris Wood is bound for a bit of regression. We saw how many of those goals were before February. They really dried up towards the end of the season, and I'm all right, well, that's probably more indicative of Chris Wood than the first sort of 4 or 5 months of last season, which were kind of an outlier on his Premier League career. So I've got him regressing back down to no more than 7. So any fantasy players out there, I would be avoiding, but I am also horrible at fantasy football, so
I can't wait for Chris Wood to win the Golden Boot this year.
100%.
Cool. My bold player prediction is Adam Wharton goes for an English transfer record in January.
January? Oh, January, no. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why he was going to be in my MVPs, but I think he's going to be gone by
Do you know what the English transfer record is? I'm going to put you on the spot now.
Is it the Grealish one? Or was it more?
I don't know. I asked you.
Oh, you asked, I thought you knew the answer.
No.
What is it?
You'd love to put me on the spot with a question, so you've made a bold prediction. Tell us who.
Wait, no. I want the. So this is saying Florian Wirtz for 116 million.
Oh, you want an English player?
Yeah, I want English player.
Well, I think Declan Rice might have just pipped it.
It will be Declan Rice. What was that?
105.
5. Yeah, we're gonna take that record off you, I think.
That's a good shout, to be fair. I mean, it would be a bad situation for Palace to be in, but a big fun to get in.
Yeah, it'd be Declan Rice 105. Yeah, I reckon he's gonna go for more than 105 in January, and yeah, we're going to be money rich and then spend it on a load of bad players and go down. Cool. I think that's everything from us then this week. That was quite a refreshing one to have before we go on our break, and all our predictions make no sense whatsoever. But
we're recording this at the end of July, so just a disclaimer. This is coming out the week before the season starts in sort of early mid-August, as Alex is off to go live his best cowboy life in America and for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so if anything, just enjoy laughing at how stupid we sounded at the time of making this all. But yeah, feel free to rate and review us, the podcast, and tell your friends. We want to get out there to as many other 14 fans as possible. Don't tell any top 6 fans. We don't want them listening. And then yeah, follow us on socials at Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Reddit at other14FC podcast. And then you can email in at other14fcpodcast@gmail.com. But otherwise, Tom, I'll catch you next time when the football will have begun again.
Nice one, mate. In a bit.
Sure. Bye.